one wind turbine of 4 megawatts, but the ones that are being built now are the largest ones are almost 4 times as big. 4 megawatts is 900,000 kilograms of steel.
Oh my God.
2.5 million kilograms of concrete.
One.
Yeah, one. 45,000 kilograms of the wind turbine blades, they're made of glass fiber and epoxy resin. And it's this mix of toxic chemicals, basically. 30% of it is BPA, bisphenol A, which is an endocrine disruptor.
Uh-huh.
So these are really big industrial installations that require a lot of resources. So there's this professor in energy history, Vaclav Smil, and he calculated. He has this article, and on all the resources that are needed for the energy transition, and he says it's just not possible. And only for steel by 2050, if we want to have a total decarbonization of the economy, then it requires 5 billion tons of steel. It just doesn't exist.
Now, let's start doing the math here with big numbers. How many cars do we have worldwide? 1.5 billion. This is a global problem, right? If I replace all the cars in France, that's not going to solve global warming. I have to replace all the cars to get rid of all these CO2 emissions. 1.5 billion. Let's say 100 kilograms per car, 100 kilograms of copper per car, right? Okay, so 1.5 billion, that's 150 million tons of copper, right? 150 million tons. But how do I get that copper? I go somewhere, whatever, Kyrgyzstan, above all to Chile, and I have to mine that copper, okay? I asked this question many, many times, many people, and I never got a correct answer from anybody. Does anybody know what is the average richness of copper ore in Chile, which is traditionally the best mining place for copper? What percentage of copper is in that iron ore? 90, 50, 30, 20, 10, 5? No, 0.67%.
Nearly 1 billion tons of aluminum and 600 million tons of copper. And we are already running into, I believe the copper ore that is being mined right now, it has less quality. So this whole energy transition has this major resources need, and it's been harvesting it everywhere with tremendous damage to the environment. But
Right.
it's also going to cause geopolitical strife, because the countries that have these minerals, there's going to be a huge geopolitical competition for these resources. There are just not enough resources in the world to make this transition work in the way it's planned right now.
The economics depend on government subsidy, number one, but they also depend on the fact that you're going to pretend that getting rid of this stuff when it's over is a lot less expensive than it is, because what they're doing is they're basically digging a hole in the ground and they're taking all this steel and fiberglass and everything and just burying it, which is not, it can't possibly be good for the environment.
No, and it's not renewable.
And it's not renewable, right? So after 20 or whatever number of years, you take all this stuff that you've had to go crazy, mining and getting from all around the world and shipping all around the world, and then you just bury it in the ground.
Well, the steel and the concrete, they can recycle that. But with the turbine blades, some of them will say that they can recycle it, but it's not really true, because it depends on how you define recycling. You can ground it up in small pieces and use those granular pieces for something, but those are just very toxic. This is just very toxic stuff that doesn't break down in the environment. And if you talk about real recycling, then you should be able to go back to a level of purity, and you have glass fiber again, and you can use this epoxy resin, and that's something that they're really not able to do. And again, this is so costly that, as you say, they are burying the stuff, which is not sustainable at all.